think the scouts were pretty happy. There was a couple of situations where we were trying to move up, trying to get more picks, and ended up getting the player anyway. So that was it was great. Yeah.
On that, Grayson, a lot of guys have him. At least when I saw Mox, maybe late first, early second. But like you said, was there any concern that we have to trade up to get it?
Well, we were trying, and it was a situation where it's kind of what's the cost, and you roll the dice a little bit, and we didn't want to give up more picks. We were willing to for the right situation, but it worked out for us.
And looking at him and his game, obviously high skill, but he also talked a lot about his grit, his edge. Kind of seemed to fit the blueprint you guys have in last year.
Exactly. He fits right in, and you think of that highly skilled player who has that compete, and it can manifest itself in a lot of different ways. So it's exciting.
Now that you guys kind of found your identity this year in terms of players, does that change maybe what you guys look for in these drafts?
You know, it could positionally. So let's say you go through and you get maybe 4D in a row, but you're generally, our philosophy is to draft the best player, and then make that work, right? So the best asset and the best available player.
What did you make of the lack of trade action?
I think it was not for lack of trying, but you know, it's like selling a house, right? You could have 20 visitors one day, and you think, and nothing happens, and then one day you get one guy shows up and buys your house. It literally, right? So I don't think it's any surprise, and I don't think it's anything to. I know it's exciting and it's good copy for you guys, but I think a lot of teams are talking, and you know, people are in cap crunches, and I think that's really just a function of the flat cap, and I think you could look at it both ways, right? It could provoke more movement, and then hinder it, and serve as a drag coefficient on it as well.
A couple of GMs said that the quality of the first round in particular, you had teams that didn't want to move their picks because they had like 3 or 4 guys on the board that was
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, we didn't have any.
About the Swedish goaltender you drafted, just in terms of what goes into selecting a goalie, because I know you guys have a goaltending department.
Yeah, we're really blessed, and being able to have that goaltending department, you can entrust them, and they're very thorough, and they have a lot of different voices, and actually a lot of different. They have one shared philosophy, but perhaps different backgrounds, and from Roberto to Leo, and it's a very trying to think of the very thorough vetting process that they go through in their list and putting it together. So we're very comfortable, and they've done an unbelievable job so far.
Can you talk a little bit about Olaf, just like what you guys saw, what you liked him?
Yeah, it was a great big guy, and he had been injured, so missed almost a whole year. And so with that year off, they did some extra, even though he played this season. They were just extra diligent, and they were pretty happy about it.
It helps having guys in that department that are kind of have their fingers all over the world.
Yeah, and their process, begins at the beginning of the year. So it's something that they work on all season long, and just like the scouts. Well, I think some of these young men are going to be a few years out, but it's that sort of positive feeling and continuing. Look, we're trying to be better every day. We're trying to grow, and we're trying to get players that emulate that style of hockey and that style of professionalism that the guys themselves did on the ice for us this year.
You looked at Wickman, Hoffman, 2 blue liners. Any sort of common threads you would like when you're kind of looking at the future of the back end and how you want it to look?
I think the commonality on the 2 of them is the compete and the grit. One's a bigger guy, sort of he's mobile and just a bigger guy, and the other guy's sort of 5'11"-ish, but again, mobility and grit.
That's on that skating first and foremost.
Yeah, and now, it helps. The skating helps, and we have a couple of, in Forsling and Montour, we have a couple of guys who can really wheel, and you can see that it helps.
And Wickman also has a bit of experience in the pros with the NHL. Does it help when you can go to the draft and have a little bit of tape on a guy that has played in professional ranks?
I think it does. I think, and for the scouts, that seeing those younger players in the men's leagues, it crosses a nexus of, okay, now I see them in a higher level, in a higher everything from the level of play on the ice to the age to the locker rooms, and so if they can exist in that arena, I think it makes it easier to project.
Was that the case with your last pick with Stepan? Obviously, a little bit older, 19, played in the KHL a little bit.
Yeah, and he's from Belarus and he's under contract for a couple of years. So that was one where I think maybe he fell because you might not have access to him for a while. But he's tremendously skilled and again, playing with the men.
Looking ahead now with the draft behind you, Saturday's coming up, just kind of switching the mindset a little bit, or is it all one flowing thing? How does that process go?
It seems as if it's a constant flow. There's no break. So we'll be at it probably even this afternoon. Yesterday we sat with the pros and we went through different iterations and could we get this guy, could we get that guy, is this possible? And it's going to be, I think, an interesting and exciting free agency period because there's a lot of teams up against the cap. There's a lot of players that I think that fit needs for many teams. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on Saturday.
Do you foresee maybe more trade activity now that the draft is over? Just your opinion.
I would say that I'm making it up, right? So given the fact that there hasn't been a tremendous amount to this point, perhaps, but it's like selling your house. You just don't know.
You talk about it. A million things for you to do right now, pro and junior. But looking ahead to D-Camp, you only have 5 picks this year. How much time is now spent maybe going after a couple undrafted guys, getting them to good schools?
Yeah, there's a lot of as we're speaking right now, a lot of the young men who were not selected today and are very deserving of having been selected are talking to the teams. Perhaps we could come to your development camp, or we'll be pursuing players like that. So it's a great exercise for us to get to know the players, to sort of help teach and instruct from our standpoint. It's not as much a competitive evaluative period as much as it is a teaching opportunity. So we're really excited.